big fines, but what about the performance of the company?
Big fines, but it ultimately looks like it's not going to affect the companies, even in the short term here. We see shares trading higher in extended trading. After that announcement came out yesterday, Facebook shares also gained about 1%. This comes down to the numbers being good. The revenues were $16.9 billion in the second quarter. That's 28% growth year on year. So Facebook is continuing to bring in new sales and continuing to bring in that advertising revenue. We also look at that all-important average revenue per user number, which is $7.05. That was way above the estimate. So the ultimate bottom line there is that Facebook is continuing to bring in per user, and that's how analysts look at its performance. Now, if you look at Facebook by the numbers, also daily active users and monthly active users continuing to grow despite these privacy concerns. And this is one of these sort of paradoxes that we've been talking about. The company did warn about where those privacy initiatives would show up, and that was in its operating expenditures. Things like headcount, we saw massive growth, other expenses going forward. But looking like a solid report from the numbers perspective from Facebook.
Mark Zuckerberg brought out Sarbanes-Oxley, not something you expect the head of Facebook to be talking about in a conference call on earnings, but effectively he was talking about how some of the financial controls work at public companies, the auditing process, and he wants privacy controls to look very much like those auditing controls. I mean, other than the fact that he bored investors with this type of commentary, can we expect more from the company, or is it just empty rhetoric after all the fines, all the legal cases, and all of the commentary that's happened at a European parliamentary level and at Congress?
So we do know that as part of this FTC settlement yesterday, Facebook has to create somewhat of an independent privacy board. And essentially, a key part of that board is that Mark Zuckerberg won't have overall voting power on it. So they did limit his authority a bit in that sense. And there was a talk on the call yesterday about how the company, including Mark Zuckerberg, has to move forward with that. They signed this agreement. It's a done deal. Now, I also want to highlight that it disclosed a new antitrust investigation in this call yesterday. So they officially said that the FTC has opened an antitrust investigation into the company. This is on top of that DOJ review that we got yesterday that's looking at antitrust broadly among tech companies, and it's on top of the existing FTC settlement. So it looks like the regulatory pressure is only going to continue, and this is quite a big disclosure officially, both from Facebook and the FTC.
A slightly curly one. I was looking through some of the ambitions for the company, and they are moving towards Instagram shopping, but also marketplace on Facebook. And woven into this is the payment system Libra that we've all been talking about around the set. Where does all this go if there is no Libra? Because it remains to be seen whether the payments option will actually work. Does that mean there's still a viable business underlying all this?
Yeah, I was a bit surprised how much Zuckerberg focused on his vision for Libra, despite all of this sort of negative sentiment that we heard around it from the regulators just in the last month. But they are certainly building in this payments, idea into their longer term outlook. Now, in the short term, the revenue is almost entirely from advertising, and it doesn't look like that's slowing down. So it's not like if we don't see Libra take off next year, we're all going to see a sudden deceleration in Facebook revenue. And a big part of that ad revenue is coming from stories, and they have, very, very solid growth across stories, pointing to solid growth, particularly in Instagram stories. And that looks like it's going to continue to bring in those ad dollars, at least in the short term here.
Hi, I'm Joanna Bersecci, and thank you for watching. You can check out more of our videos by clicking on the boxes on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more from CNBC International. Thank you for watching.